Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. Thank you for joining us today. And in today's video, we talk about the electrifying Lamar Jackson as he pushes for his third MVP and finally break his curse in the playoffs and make it to a Super Bowl. But before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 10K subs, turn on those notifications, and stay tuned for our next videos. And comment who you think should hoist the MVP trophy this year. Fellas, after watching Lamar through this season and coming off a 5 touchdown game against the Giants, and as he chases the greatest passer rating season of all time, yes, all time, does Lamar have a case to win the MVP?
I'm sorry, Mr. Lamar Jackson. Sir, you do not have a case to win the MVP. And I don't even really think that this is a topic of a conversation because, for one, and maybe one of you guys can fact check me, when was the last time a guy won the MVP and didn't win his division? Because if Lamar Jackson does want to have any chance of winning the MVP, for one, you have to win this game against the Steelers, who are your kryptonite, by the way, even though you don't want to acknowledge that. But no, there's a guy over there in Buffalo that's playing way better than him. So yes, Lamar Jackson can have these stats. He can put up 5 touchdowns against the Giants and have this crazy passer rating. It's impressive. It's great. But no, he's not the MVP. No, they're 9-5 on the season. 9-5. Like, come on now. We got to be honest. And then you look at what Saquon Barkley is doing. There are guys that have been more valuable to their team than Lamar Jackson this year. Stop it. I think what people are doing is that people realize that he probably didn't really deserve it last year. So now they're saying, oh, well, look at what he's doing this year. Look at the stats. The stats are crazy. But no, he's not the MVP, man. Because nobody was talking about him even being the MVP anymore because Josh Allen was clearly running away with it. Till this guy put up 5 touchdowns against the Giants. Against the Giants. The Giants are awful. Like, bro, it's nasty over there. So, no, I can't take that seriously unless they went out. If they went out, and if the Buffalo Bills lose out, or if the Philadelphia Eagles lose out, then yeah. But that means that a lot of things have to go in his way, and we know that's not how football works. So, no, Lamar Jackson shouldn't even be thinking about or focusing on MVP. His ass needs to think about winning a Super Bowl and being the quote-unquote MVP for his team in the postseason. That's what I care about. I'm tired of talking about Lamar Jackson in regular season awards. I'm tired of it, especially when there's no reason to. There's really no reason to. In my opinion, it's a one-man race with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been playing some of the best quarterback. Like, you got guys like Mike Greenberg that is saying that these past 4 games of Josh Allen is the best quarterback he's seen in his life. He's seen it in his life. And we're trying to say that Lamar Jackson is comparable. And then also, and I know for a fact Buffy's going to get into this, are we forgetting that Lamar Jackson in the offseason got one of the best running backs of our generation? And he has guys like Zay Flowers and Likely and Mark Andrews. He has so many weapons, and people love to say, and I don't even want to bash Lamar Jackson, but before this season, everybody loves to say how he doesn't have help, didn't have skill position players. You got all of that this year, sir. No excuses. No excuses because what people do, and they've really been doing this for a while with Lamar Jackson, is that they'll say, oh, we don't care what he does in the regular season. He got to step up in the postseason. Then he wins a regular season award and has a crazy regular season, and people forget that. Like, no, you got to prove it to us in the postseason. Let's stop falling in this trap and falling in this cycle. This dude has to get it done. He has to. And I'm done making excuses for him because people are saying at this point that Lamar Jackson, best quarterback in the league, a top 2 quarterback. Show me in the postseason, because we can say what we want to say about Josh prior to the season. We can say what we want to say about Burrow. We can say what we want to say about, Patrick not having a great regular season anymore. But these guys have playoff performances that we can go back on and say they were great. We don't have one of those for Lamar Jackson. We don't have one. So I don't care. I really don't care. It'd be different if he was the number 1 guy in terms of MVP, but he's not. So why are we wasting our time and making an argument for him? Y'all come to me when this guy wins the Super Bowl MVP. That's the only time I want to hear MVP and Lamar Jackson. Because, okay, if you get a third MVP, like let's just say he does get a third MVP, and you don't get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, what does it matter for? What does it matter for? So, no, I'm kind of irritated by this question because it's the same question year after year. Year after year. We know he's going to put up good stats. He got a great team. The defense may not be what it used to be, but he got a great team. He got great coaching, stable franchise. The Ravens always been, since 2000, they've been one of the premier franchises in the NFL. When's the last time they had a bad season? So you got a great team. Just get it done.
To fact check, I think actually the last time a quarterback won the MVP award without winning the division was Peyton Manning in 2008.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, but that year it was kind of an outlier because the people that was contended with Peyton Manning, Kurt Warner, Drew Brees, and Phillip Rivers, who Phillip Rivers had the raw stats to actually win the MVP. Rivers' team, they went 8-8. Kurt Warner's team went 9-7, and Drew Brees' team, who Drew Brees threw for 5,000 yards, they went 8-8. So they weren't going to win it with those type of records. So it's kind of understandable they gave it to that 12-win team, and Peyton's stats were kind of fine. So yeah, that's that. So with this Lamar Jackson situation, I think it's kind of similar to that, but I do think the reason why Lamar isn't going to win it this year is because like those seasons that Peyton Manning had, which Peyton Manning, he had an okay season in 2008, but it wasn't really a strong MVP year. This is really a strong MVP year with the candidates. Like Saquon Barkley, approaching 2,000 yards. Josh Allen's having a great season. Josh Allen's basically broken records in like the last 4 games, pretty much. And he's had MVP moments in literally like the last 4 games. It's been like one of the most dominant stretches we ever seen. Last 3 games since he's gotten engaged, like literally 7. I think it's 8 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Like no turnovers, no sacks. So it's really kind of impressive what he's doing. But Lamar Jackson, he is having an all-time great season. As of week 14 or week 15, whatever week we're in, his pass rating is second only to Peyton Manning in 2004, which is insane. To have a 120 passer rating, he's been phenomenal. He's had a lot of five touchdown games. It's kind of making up for the nickname Jackson 5 because he's been throwing for 5 TDs in a lot of games. But what I'm seeing with Lamar Jackson, and I'm not trying to discredit the brother, I don't think he's the most valuable player in the league. Just if you just look at that term, if you define the term, because he has a lot of help. And I'm not going to discredit him because Josh has helped too, but Lamar, a few games into the season, Derrick Henry was the odds-on favorite to win the Offensive Player of the Year, and he's going to be the second running back in rushing yards and in major statistics after Saquon Barkley. So Derrick Henry's been phenomenal. They have in the last couple games they haven't really ran Derrick Henry, but he's been phenomenal in the snaps and rushes he's had. Now with the wide receiver core, and this was a major talking point with Lamar Jackson in his first couple seasons, especially in 2019 was MVP season. They have a really good wide receiver core, and I know they don't have a big name like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, but Rashad Bateman has been number 1 in Pro Football Focus in wide receiver separation, and Zay Flowers has been number 7. So he's had those guys on the outside, and he's had one of the best tight end duos in the league we've ever seen. Literally, Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews have been phenomenal this season. So Lamar Jackson's had help, which he's had arguably the best roster construction from an offensive standpoint in the entire AFC. So he should be putting up these numbers. He should be putting up these gaudy stats, and he's had a phenomenal year. I'm not trying to take anything from him. His passing has been on a great level. Lamar has that's been the main talking point with him, and his pass has been, can he be a natural born quarterback? Last season they were saying not quarterback enough, and he kind of disappointed in the playoffs. But this season he has been phenomenal when it comes to passing, not turning the football over at all. The 3 interceptions he does have are kind of fluky. They weren't really on him. He had one that he threw to, I think, Justice Hill that kind of got ripped out of Justin Hill's hands. And the other one, I remember Rashad Bateman dropped the ball and it was an interception. And he had another one that was kind of flaky. So the brother has not been turning the football over at all. He's been playing exemplary football play. I just don't think he's going to win MVP this year. And it's really, what I was saying this in the Josh Allen video that we recorded, I think it really isn't a bad thing, because if you just look off the precedent that he won last year, and I know I was kind of advocating for Josh Allen to win it last year, but they gave it to Lamar. And if you just look at how Raven fans argue Lamar Jackson's case this year, just based off how they argue it, Dak Prescott deserved to win MVP last year. Just based off how the Ravens fans argue for Lamar Jackson to get the MVP. Dak Prescott had better numbers than Lamar Jackson in most of the categories except for interceptions. So he didn't even have a high interception total. I think he had like 11 on the season. So if you're going on the same precedent, Dak Prescott deserved to win the MVP last year. But otherwise, Lamar Jackson been having a phenomenal year. I think this is the best version of Lamar we've seen. Hopefully he can get it done in the postseason, which has been a big crutch. To me, he has not performed well in the postseason to his peers. Patrick Mahomes has been the greatest postseason performer we've ever seen based off of statistics and analytics. Josh Allen in 2021, it's like analytically the best postseason player ever. So, and Joe Burrow has been really good in the postseason, and he got into the Super Bowl. So Lamar Jackson's really the only guy out of those four that has not proved it. So hopefully he can prove it this season. But the brother has been phenomenal this year, and he does kind of have a weakness. He dominates on all these NFC teams, but the brother does not play well against Pittsburgh for whatever reason. I don't know, Mike Tomlin, he knows how to game plan for the brother, or the separations just isn't there. But he just does not play well against them at all. And last thing before I point this off to Jay, Lamar in the game against Philly, he kind of stat padded. So like in the last couple of seconds, this dude ran for like 50 yards, like in a game that was like already decided. He was gonna throw a passing touchdown, and it's like, brother, come on, man, like you try to get those numbers up, bro. Like the game was clearly over. It's like what are you doing, man? Like those my thoughts on Lamar, man. He's having a phenomenal year, and it's a shame. I was thinking of it prior to a couple weeks ago when Saquon started popping off. But if Lamar, because they usually like to give the offensive player of the year to a running back or a wide receiver, if Lamar can get the offensive player of the year, not the MVP, because he like his numbers have been kind of better than Josh this year. Just his raw statistics, Josh kind of beat him in analytics, but his numbers have been so raw and like so crazy that he could win offensive player of the year, and I wouldn't be surprised at it. But I think they're gonna give it to Saquon. But nonetheless, those are my arguments on Lamar's MVP case.
Yeah, man, Lamar Jackson, he has been balling. I can't give him that. On the season so far, he's at 3,500 yards, 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And those interceptions, his receivers that dropped the ball. And like I said, he's on the way to having the greatest, rating of all time. He's like right behind Peyton Manning. So, that's a big feat of him. But, this is like something we always hear when we talk about Lamar Jackson. Like, year over year, it's always, wow, we seen something new out of Lamar Jackson in the regular season. Okay, when are we gonna hear that about him in the postseason? We always, there's nothing wrong with hearing him, improve, because he is always improving in the regular season. But it's like when he gets to the postseason, it's just like we see a different guy. He's only had one playoff victory in like certain playoff games, like year throughout year. He's only won one time in the playoffs. Like he can't win more than once. I'm seeing this a natural reoccurrence every year, and it's like, when are we going to get something better? And then the Ravens decide to bring in, like Mal said, the best running back of our generation, Derrick Henry. And a lot of people, they thought he was a little washed just because he was looking bad in Tennessee. But Tennessee's just, a poor ran organization. And look what he's done. He's the second best running back in the league. And a lot of those games that they won in the beginning of the season, before, they started dipping down in his production, who closed out those games? Derrick Henry. Because who could stop him? Nobody. Thank you. But, and a lot of people always want to say, based off the impact, because, that's really what the MVP is, the most valuable player. And they want to say Lamar is more valued because of how his defense has played this year and his kicker. First of all, even though the defense hasn't, showed up how they normally do in prior seasons, they're still ranked higher than the Bills defense overall. And then on top of that, the Bills kicker, Tyler Bass, ain't playing good. This nigga missed a 20-yard field goal. Like, he ain't playing any better. And even though Justin Tucker is having a super down year, he's still the greatest kicker of all time. He's still knocking down, field goals better than Tyler Bass. So, you can't really hold that against him. You know, he's got one of the better coaches. I will say, I think, you know, Harbaugh is better than McDermott. You know, I mean, you can show that just based off of the continuous seasons that Harbaugh's had compared to McDermott. So you can say that from what I've just listed, Lamar's got, you know, the better running back. He's got the better O-line. He's got the better defense, even though this year it hasn't been, you know, a bigger margin, but the Ravens still better. The better kicker. So I'm hearing Lamar has, you know, better things than Josh Allen. And then, like I said, like a lot of people have been saying, if Josh Allen wins MVP, it's based off of those turnovers, and he's gotten them down. And, you know, even though Lamar's doing his thing, I don't think his value has been over Josh Allen. Because if you eliminate Josh Allen, then the Bills aren't winning these games. The Bills aren't 10-3. Like, did you see what Josh Allen just did in these past 2 games? Like against Detroit, this dude went crazy. His value showed because his defense, I mean, they gave up like over 90 points in their past 2 games. If that doesn't show you impact, then I don't know what does. Because I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's basically like the Jalen Hurts. A lot of folks been saying Jalen Hurts be winning all these AFC games. Lamar Jackson, he does the same thing with NFC games. So, like, can we put some respect on Josh Allen? But, you know, it's cool that Lamar's doing all this. Props to him. You know, he's having a hell of a season, and I think he'll continue to improve in it. The regular season, and he'll probably get to like that, you know, 4K for years to come. But it's what I want to see in the postseason. Like, I've seen enough of you in the regular season, and I still, even if Lamar doesn't win MVP this year, which I don't think he will, he'll probably win it again, you know, sometime throughout his career. But I want to see what we gonna see in the postseason. And first of all, I want to see, can you beat the Steelers? I mean, the Steelers been snatching your chain for your whole career. Are we gonna see you beat the Steelers? And then for this MVP race, you know, it's coming down to these latter parts of these games. You know, the Bills, I mean, it's pretty set in stone. They play the Patriots and the Jets. So I'm going, those are dubs. Unless Josh Allen just, you know what I'm saying, takes them, you know, lightly. But those are dubs. The Eagles, you know, Saquon, he's finna go against three of the worst defenses in the league. The Cowboys defense, the Giants defense, and the Commanders defense. So he will be getting those 2,000 yards. And then Lamar, you know, he will be playing the Steelers, the Browns, and the Texans. Now, come Saturday, I'm taking the Steelers because they've been snatching his chain for a while. They're going to continue to do so. Even though Lamar hasn't played the Steelers with Ravens fans, so Ravens fans will have an impact, but I still don't think it will be enough for him to beat the Steelers because I do think that Mike Tomlin has been able to game plan against Lamar, and it showed because, I mean, he continues to beat him. And, you know, I don't think the Texans, I think they have a shot at beating them, but we shall see. You know, that defense has been playing really good. So if the offense can, you know, do something for this game, then, you know, we might see them lose to the Texans. Now the Browns, yeah, I think it's wraps because, I mean, the Browns are just, they already got rid of they already benched Jameis, so that's a dub. But these 2 games, Lamar, if he wants to still make a chance at the MVP, he's gonna have to win those. But shoot, Saquon, he really still got a chance at the MVP because he could really shatter that 2,000 yard record. You know, but depending on how much he averages, if he averages like, I don't know, like 130, 140. But let's put some respect. Let's give some respect to Josh Allen because his impact is being more felt. And we know what Josh Allen does in the postseason. You know, the only thing is his defense, they just don't show up against, you know, that guy, Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, Lamar, I'm going to have to see something new when it comes postseason time. The regular season, that's cool and all. That's fine and dandy. But in the postseason, are we going to see, you know, what we see in the regular season? Are we going to see an MVP? Are we going to see somebody who can close out a game? Are we going to see are we going to see you duke it out with, you know, guys like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes? Are you going to get over that hump? Or are you going to continue to, you know, fail and time again, continue to not get over that hurdle and then just show us once again that, oh, you're MVP in the regular season, but when it comes to the postseason, you're a flopper, you're a dropper. Show us.
Thank you, Jay, for being accurate and being honest about this conversation because CJ you know, he was being PC, being very politically correct, but everything he said was accurate as well. I will say this, all of you people that are watching this video, of you at this point, man, if you haven't liked this video or subscribed, I don't really know what the hell you're doing. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You know you enjoy this content. I will say this. CJ brought up something about Lamar Jackson fans and how they've been basically caping for him to win this award, and in comparison to Dak Prescott. I want to say this right here, man. I know Lamar Jackson has the MVPs, and he's clear-cut better than Dak Prescott. I'm going to preface that. Clear-cut better. But all the hate that Dak Prescott be getting, why the hell are we not talking about Lamar Jackson like we talk about Dak Prescott? I'm looking at the playoff victories, and yeah, Lamar has been to an AFC championship game, but they have the 1 seed, so you know you only have to win 1 game. But why are we not talking about him and holding his ass accountable? I just want to leave that question out there for you guys to take into account. You made it to the end of this video, and feel free to comment and you know, explain to me why that's the case. But as Jay said, I have to piggyback on what he said. What Lamar Jackson is doing is cool. Win that Super Bowl, sir, and prove me wrong.